You're welcome back, and you're still watching Newsnight. We're live from Nigeria's capital in Abuja. I'm Christian Ogdo. Thanks for staying with us. Ahead of the 65th session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government holding in Abuja, the West Africa Democracy Solidarity Network, in collaboration with Tonos La Page and several other groups across the region, have called on the regional bloc to agree on term limits for presidents of member states. In a statement, 53 civil society organizations operating across member states say now, more than ever before, is the time for ECOWAS to fast-track the review of the ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol and promulgate a code on presidential term limits. On the deteriorating security and humanitarian conditions in the Sahel and the planned exit of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from ECOWAS, the CSOs urged the heads of states to seek the intervention of global and regional bodies to intervene in the situation to avoid further deterioration of the rights of citizens by their governments. Meanwhile, Niger's military commander and the junta heads of Mali and Burkina Faso have stated that they are irrevocably abandoning the larger regional grouping, the ECOWAS. The three leaders are meeting for the first time to solidify an alliance formed in the face of criticism from surrounding countries. From 2020 to 2023, soldiers gained control of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger through a series of coups. All three nations, which now comprise the alliance of Sahel states, have been plagued by Islamist violence, which is part of the cause for the army takeovers. At Saturday's meeting in the Nigerian capital, Niamey, the country's leader, General Abdurrahman Chani, announced that instead of ECOWAS, the junta commanders intended to construct a community of peace and solidarity. Joining us to chat on this is Austin Aigbe, is a member West Africa Democracy Solidarity Network. Austin, very warm welcome to Newsnight. You've been crisscrossing the West African sub-region. Top most, of course, is the unity solidarity of ECOWAS and, the continued development of the region. But that seems to be a little on a shaky ground, with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso irrevocably committed to propagating a new body for themselves. Does that not, would that not destabilize ECOWAS in itself?
Yes, no, it depends on the angle one look at it from. Yes, because you need all of the member states to be in one accord. There is no issue with whether they come up with the Sahelian state, the Alliance of Sahel states, because there are other countries of West Africa who also have those kind of alliances. For instance, the Liberia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and I think Guinea, those have the same arrangement. They have what they call the Minor River Group.
Even Senegambia once had that too.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can have those alliances, and you create an alliance that help you to deal with specific issue. But ECOWAS is a bigger game, and that is where, of course, it can become a challenge having those three states put out from ECOWAS. With all due respect, the leaders are the ones that put out, not necessarily citizens. The citizens remain community members. And that's why, from our side at Wadamos, we are appealing to these military heads that they should consider their own people. Because, right now, to go to Burkina Faso, it's not as easy as it used to be. They are not alien to the rest of us.
But the restrictions have been removed. I mean, they were suspended. So what makes them to be aliens?
So because they are not members of ECOWAS anymore. Mm-hmm. So the restrictions about sanctions were removed.
Yeah.
But restrictions, for instance, if I had there's this ECOWAS passport, the blue passport that you can easily just travel with. Mm-hmm. You can travel within all of the states of ECOWAS. Mm-hmm. You can't get into 3 of those countries with that blue passport. You can only do that with your green passport as a Nigerian. So certain ties are still not there. However, even with security architecture, which is a bane of ECOWAS development, particularly in the Sahel, and they've called themselves the Sahelian state. Before now, you see Nigeria contributing to the fight in the Sahel. It will impact on Nigeria, but it will impact on these three countries more. You know why? They are landlocked. So they benefit more.
Algeria is giving them all the necessary backings.
Algeria, the distance between Niger or Burkina to, you have to go through a mass Sahel
Sahara
desert.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as easy as, why didn't Niger go through Algeria to pull out its oil resources that China is doing? Why did they have to go to Benin? So each of these countries that are landlocked, we certainly need access to the water body. And Benin, of course, Nigeria, of course, Ghana used to be that opportunity for them. They are only relying now because they've got alliance with Russia and China, which for me, it's only for a moment.
With River Niger, can't Niger cage Nigeria, particularly with our hydro dams?
No, so we have many opportunities. If they want to do that, they would have done it by now. They would have done it by now. They know that blocking that will not automatically affect us in great terms. We are the one that shut them out of electricity until it was restored. So I would have expected that if there was an impact, as at the time we shut them out of electricity, they would have blew that way, but nothing happened. It means that they are not totally in control. But they can only stop the water from coming in, but they will need resources to stop that water.
Well, let's look at political development in the ECOWAS states, and a new twist is tenure elongation by you say democratically elected president who want to, twist their constitution surreptitiously, for that matter. We saw that in Togo just recently and the rest. And ECOWAS, what other advice would you be giving the heads of government as they converge on Nigeria's capital, Abuja, tomorrow for the 53rd, right?
65th.
Yeah. 65th, yeah. Extraordinary meeting in Abuja. Isn't such actions capable of, causing chaos, anarchy, and political retrogression in West Africa?
Very correct. Absolutely correct. And that's the essence of our meeting. That constitutional coup exists in Africa, exists in West Africa, where leaders change the constitution to benefit them and perpetuate them in power. And that's what we are saying. When you blame the military heads of state in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, also blame these ones who took over power by changing their constitution. You use the word elected official. They were elected, yes, but at some point, when their tenure is about to end, they recreate a constitution that favors them. Look, the example you gave in Togo. Togo has strategically turned the system from presidential system into parliamentary system, where the current president, is likely to rule forever.
Be there for another 20 years or 30.
As far as it is like, but it created a position now for the president who will change after 2 terms. So he's saying that I am head of government, but this is the president. It was president you wanted 10 limit for. The president now has 10 limit. It's 2 years, but I'm no more president. I'm now head of government. You see, this same thing happened in Côte d'Ivoire. In Côte d'Ivoire, the two term had ended. He recreated the constitution and restarted. So now, but
Senegal, stood tall, stood firm.
Senegal wanted to use a different route. I was almost going there. So Senegal postponed an election to December the 15th with the intention between April to December, it will create something and cause all manner of things because they learn from each other. These folks meet in this summit that they are participating in tomorrow. We are asking that in this summit you are participating in tomorrow, talk to each other. That constitutional coup is impacting on us the same way military coup is affecting West Africa. Sincerely, and with all due respect, when the military heads took over, they said something, and I think the ECOWAS of state had it, that when people engage in constitutional coup, you don't criticize them. But when people engage in military coup, you come out with all manner of sanctions.
A kind of double standard?
A kind of double standard. Why is it that ECOWAS, as it were, cannot place sanctions on Togo? I said, no, Yedema, you can't do that. Or the guy in Côte d'Ivoire, now, all these countries, sincerely now, they have term limit in their constitution, but each of them has benefited by changing that system to, first of all, okay, since we have changed the constitution now, let's benefit it first. So we are going to be here for another 2 terms. So for Cote d'Ivoire, it will be 4 terms at the end of the day. Therefore, Togo is been in power since 2005.
It's in perpetuity.
So it will not be
in perpetuity.
Unlimited head of government tenure. But here is Gambia. Because nobody's talking about Gambia. Gambia is the only country right now without a term limit in its constitution. And they are expecting that before December, Gambia, and of course Guinea is in a military coup, but it's not like the Sahelian state, is still respecting the protocol of ECOWAS. So that one is still clear. If the Gambia goes the route of Senegal, talking about Macky Sall, it will be shooting itself on the foot because of the way it came to power. The same way, and that's why for Senegal, Macky Sall had a popular vote, popular support when he came to power in 2012. But when he was leaving, all of those populism and all of those popular votes he got, he crashed by himself with an attempt to perpetuate himself in power. That's the same thing that the Gambia need to be conscious of. Do an election. Next year or thereabout will be the second term ending of President Barrow, and you expect that the election will kickstart and run an effective and hand over to another regime. And then you go back and become a state person. The same thing Liberia did. That's good news. Good news because when we talk about all of the issues in West Africa, we soon forget that Liberia had an election where George Weah
was defeated.
And he gladly had a handshake with Joseph Boakai and left. The same thing, of course, it wasn't as smooth in South Africa, in Senegal, but eventually the people rose, and then when Faye became president, you saw the peaceful transition. So we expect that peaceful transition. You win, you lose, it is a contest.
Yes, indeed, it is a contest. Some clear-cut messages there for the ECOWAS heads of government as they begin their 65th session tomorrow in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Austin Aigbe, I want to thank you very warmly for coming.
Thank you.
Newsnight.
Thank you for the honor.